All right. Welcome, everyone, to Week 9 Sunday morning fantasy football show. Very excited about this one. We haven't done a Sunday morning one, so we'll be taking your questions, any comments that you have, and we're gonna make this thing happen today. We're gonna talk about our teams, talk about some sleepers, also talk about sit or start, and we got a big Sunday with a great slate of games. So we got Jason. How you doing?
What's happening, baby? Glad to be here, man. What a way to kick off Sunday football, huh?
Definitely. We got Jordan.
Hey, what's up? Thank you again, Ben, for inviting me onto the show. Really excited. And go Broncos as always.
We got the coffee mugs out this morning, early morning. We got Sean. Sean's new to the show, so thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man. Well, Sunday's here. We made it this far. Glad we did. And let's go Giants.
Yeah. It sounds like we got 3 New Yorkers. Is that correct here?
Oh,
yeah.
From New York, Sean.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
What part?
I'm out in Long Island. So.
Oh, look at this. Yo, Jordan, where in Long Island?
Oh, yeah, we're in Long Island.
Lake Grove, Suffolk County.
All right. From Nassau, Massapequa, Belmore. From that's amazing. We're all from
Long Beach. Yeah, that's so crazy. It's like a really small world if you have to, put it all together.
That's nuts, man. All right, so New York's in the house, Ben.
Hey, still ride or die for my Cowboys. I got the Cowboys shirt on, even though I know we're gonna lose today. But ride or die, I got to do it. I got to do it regardless. It's a disease almost.
Hey Ben, God bless you for being faithful. God bless you.
Yeah, not everybody can say that. So first off, man, Sean, you put a lot of news in our kind of group chat of players that are out, and some got a player on the COVID list, Baker Mayfield. But if you still got that up, talk about some of the players that's out this week.
Yeah, so now Baker Mayfield's obviously going to be out for Cleveland. That's a huge loss for that offense, especially them losing Odell last week. So that's going to be huge now that they're losing their quarterback for a couple of games. I don't know exactly how long it's going to be for, but I believe it's a minimum of 3 games being on the COVID list. So that's going to be a rough go for them. Some other guys that are out is who's missing from, I forgot who it was from the Saints. Is it someone else from the Saints? Is Emmanuel Sanders back?
I believe he is back. I got him. I think I have him starting on one of my teams, so he is back. Michael Thomas, I believe, was questionable.
He is still questionable. They expect him to go tonight, but for any setbacks, who knows with this guy? It feels like out of the blue, there's some sort of setback, but you never know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah, Stafford is cleared to play.
Yep,
and Stafford is big as far as fantasy. Now, them actually winning games, probably not. But as far as fantasy, he's a pretty good guy.
And I will say this. This Minnesota defense is not that good at all. So if you got Matthew Stafford, want him as like a cheap option in DraftKings, I would pick him up right now.
I totally agree with that. Even though Kenny Golladay is not playing, they're going to find other guys. I think Swift may get some catches out of the backfield.
Marvin Jones might have a big day too.
I know.
Yes.
I just look, these games in the division, Ben, they could be shootouts, and I actually got Detroit with a sneaky win today. I'm talking like 41-39 kind of crazy game. Just one of those weird games, man. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
I definitely expect Detroit to win this game for sure.
Shout out to my guy, L. Bushman. He's I believe he's an Eagles fan. He's got the first question. Mike Davis or DJ Dallas in the flex? That's a good one to kick us off right here. I would say Evans. DJ Dallas to me is not completely proven yet, even though he's going to get a bulk of the carries because they don't have any running backs there. But that's what I would say.
Yeah, look, I understand all that, and they can find players anywhere. They got a tough defense that they're going up against with DJ Dallas over there. I would go Mike Evans. I know he hasn't been Mike Evans, but with Antonio Brown being there, and I'm not even sure if Godwin's playing today with the finger, it's going to take more pressure off of Evans to be open. And you know that he's hungry because he hasn't been getting fed as much. So I think Evans is the guy. I got him starting on one of my teams.
You know, this is so interesting. I totally get, Mike Evans, but my problem is, and it's kind of been like my problem with starting any Tampa Bay wide receiver, Tom Brady likes to throw to anybody out there. It's not just one guy, but he likes to spread the ball around. And when I look at DJ Dallas, listen, Buffalo Bills, they aren't they've shown they could be tough against, inferior competition like the Jets. But you saw what Tennessee was able to do. I mean, Derrick Henry was able to put up 200-plus yards against this team. Now, I'm not saying DJ Dallas is Derrick Henry, but Russell Wilson, you're definitely going to have him opening up the running game a little bit because the Buffalo Bills are fearful of the pass. So I'm actually going to take DJ Dallas in the flex.
Okay.
All right. I like your breakdown.
Okay. And L. Bushman says, hell no, I'm not an Eagles fan. Okay. All right. You said that pretty clear. What team are you a fan of, L. Bushman? I know him back from he was on a show called Sports Arena, and it was the Eagles fan on there, but maybe he's not the Eagles fan. So, excuse me. At least you're not a Cowboys fan. That's going to be the running joke of today when today is all over with. But so let's get into our teams. As we have more questions come through, we'll definitely answer those. At first I started the Chiefs defense because obviously the Chiefs are, they're a top defense. And then somebody brought to my remembrance that the Steelers defense was available. So I was like, I might as well pick them up. I'm going to go against my boys, but just Garrett Gilbert's going to be starting this week. Come on. Garrett Gilbert, who was in what league was that he was in the last time? XFL or whatever. I mean, it's going to be treacherous, definitely, for these Cowboys. So that's a huge defense. James Conner.
I believe they were available. That's shocking.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, this is DraftKings. When I say available,
gotcha.
so not my own league, but DraftKings. They were the highest, amount defense that you had to pay for. Besides, I think the Chiefs was below that. But talk about you guys' teams. What do you have coming up? Who you have starting this week?
Who wants to kick it off?
Go ahead, Jason.
All right, I'll kick it off. I mean, staying away from the regular league for a minute because I do, obviously a whole bunch of DraftKings as well. So, I mean, I'll just check out one of my teams out of like the 7 I got going today. I think Josh Allen has got a get-right game today against Seattle. We talked about their defense. I like James Robinson up against Houston, Jacksonville's running back. There could be a lot of points in that game. Watch out for Antonio Gibson, Stephon Diggs. I think Jerry Jeudy, your boy, is going to have a sweet day today. I really, really do. I agree. Jeudy. And you know who I really like in the Seattle Bills game? People are forgetting all about Tyler Lockett, man. I mean, he's in the slot. And a lot more attention is going to be getting paid to DK Metcalf now. And I think Lockett is going to have a sweet, sweet day. So that's another guy I think to watch out for. And again, Washington, no, I just got to go in Washington. That's it, against the Giants. Maybe Evan Ingram, Terry McLaurin. Watch out for a couple of those guys there.
Yeah, and to add on to that real quick, Tyler Lockett, pretty much every other game, he has a monster game. And I don't think he had a monster game last week. So it's probably due for him to have probably 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So just, be on the lookout for that.
I could say he's amazing. He don't get enough credit, that guy, with the catches he makes, guys. Sean, I'm sure you've seen him. It's unbelievable the catches that he makes. And he gets left out of the best wide receiver, conversation a lot. And he should be in there somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
So for my team, I'm obviously going to be starting Russell Wilson today against the Buffalo Bills because he is going to be the league MVP and always has a chance for a big game whenever you have him signed up on your squad. I'm also starting Clyde Edwards-Helaire against that Carolina Panthers running defense, and even passing defense. They don't have the strongest defense whatsoever in the world, so I expected to make a lot of big plays. And here's the funny thing. So going back to Thursday night, the bright spot that I could say for the 49ers was, Jared McKinnon actually came up big for me, got me 14 points. So I definitely appreciate that, Jason. And
he's the only one left. Him and Hasty, we got nothing else.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to go I'm going to go ahead and put my Denver defense against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I know that this could be a potential risk for me, but the Atlanta defense offense is also a little bit inconsistent, in my opinion. And I've been telling people, Denver's defense isn't bad. It's the fact that they've always been put in short field positions is why they've always, given up 30-plus points or 20-plus points or even 40-plus points to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I expect the Denver defense to step up in a big way, especially because this win will allow us to get to an even 500 record and put ourselves in a position to be talked about again in the wild card race.
Yeah. No Calvin Ridley, either one less got to worry about.
Yep.
And let me add this before you go, Sean. Hasty, man, I felt so defeated starting Hasty, man. He gave me 1.3 points in the ESPN in the league, and McKinnon went off. So it's like I've learned one thing: do not start a 49ers running back unless it's Mozart, because you never know what it's going to be. I think it's the same kind of mentality with the Patriots. If you start a Patriots running back, just know they could have a great day and they're gonna have a horrible day. It's just kind of the way it goes. But
hey, I gambled right with McKinnon, so I can't say not to start a San Francisco.
Yeah, for you it worked out great.
I picked the right one at the right time. But yeah, exactly. You're right.
There you go.
All right, go ahead, Sean.
For me today, I do like Kyler Murray going up against Miami. I think that game might be an offensive shootout between him and Tua. I think there's going to be something going on there. Let's see. Who else? At the tight end spot, I do like Noah Fant, Jordan. I do like him going up against Atlanta. I think he's going to have a huge day. He's going to be right up top with Juju.
I got him starting in my league too.
Who else is big for me? I think Keenan Allen actually might have a good day as well. He's going up against the Raiders. I think Keenan Allen, Herbert, it feels like that's his go-to guy. And the Chargers they're due for a win. They're due for like a big-time win. And I think this is a division game, and I think they're capable of upsetting this team. Watch out for an upset today. You never know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Sean, if the Chargers beat the Raiders, that will definitely make me happy as a Broncos fan.
Yeah. The one thing I would say real quick, I know Keenan Allen was on the injury list. He was questionable, so I don't know, checking for the latest. But, yeah, that would be a great combo today if he's healthy.
Yeah, it looks like he's good to go, hopefully. I have him in my league, and he's pretty spot on. Keenan Allen's one of those wide receivers that he's going to get his regardless. There's nobody that can really cover him, and he's gonna get his points, and he's going to get his yards. I do have Noah Fant starting, so hopefully you do not let me down, Jordan. One guy to look at, Golden Tate, is out this week, and this is an interesting situation. Sean, you can probably add on to this. I don't know. It sounds like he's unhappy with his role. He seems to get a lot of looks, so I don't know to what point where this is going. But you look at Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton may be big today. I have him starting, so hopefully I think the ball is going to go to him often. But Sean, if you can touch on the Golden Tate situation, if you know anything else on that.
So I think now originally it was his wife or girlfriend, whatever. She came out towards the organization being all mad that he hasn't been getting enough targets. So it wasn't even initially him who was mad about it. So now all of a sudden there's a problem within the organization. He feels like he's not getting enough offensively, not getting involved in this system. Now, basically his actions cost him playing this week. That's that simple. Just his actions. And now, their Giants are down a receiver, but Sterling Shepard, not Golden Tate, Darius Slayton and Evan Ingram, those three guys right there are going to be the key to the offense pretty much. Yeah,
they're going to be big today. And it's going to depend on Danny Dimes, what he does. And first, how did this guy get a nickname so quickly?
I know. He doesn't even want to be called that. He honestly doesn't, because he knows he's throwing pennies out there.
I got to look into the full-time story, but I'll let you guys know about it next time. But Danny Dimes is not a positive nickname. He got that back in college at Duke. Right. And it had something to do with turnovers over at Duke. So I got to look into the full story. But it's nothing positive. That nickname is not positive.
Everybody, we'll be going up to kickoff. So you guys got any questions, put those in there. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook. We're also on Periscope, aka Twitter Live, and we're on YouTube. So any questions you have, you can definitely put those in there. Darren Waller is the tight end of the Raiders, and he's a little up and down because last week I started him and he gave me like 0.5 points. So I don't know what their matchup is this week. Let me see who they're playing against.
They got the Chargers, the Raiders.
The Raiders tight end? Yeah, the Chargers.
So that may be an interesting matchup, and it's kind of hit or miss because then you got Jacobs is going to get his yards regardless. And then you have Nelson Aguilar, who's there also. It's seeming to have a resurrection. Is going to get his yards too. What's you guys' thoughts on Waller this week?
Go ahead, Jordan. I'll go after you.
Oh, no, go ahead, Jason.
You sure?
Yeah, don't worry, man.
Last week was one of those weird games. It was 16-6 at Cleveland where the Raiders won. So you can kind of almost like throw that game out. I love Carr and Waller today. I think that's a beautiful combination against the Chargers. They just traded Desmond King, and I'm still trying to figure out why. It's probably a contract situation. But, yeah, I think Carr can have a really big day. And then you mentioned Nelson Aguilar. Yeah, he comes in, he plays a few good games, and then he does nothing last week. But, again, that was that weird game in Cleveland. So I think that Carr, look, he's not an MVP, but he's one of those sleeper type of guys that, could crawl in there. And I don't believe that he's actually going to be the MVP. But today against this defense, yeah, no doubt about it. I like him, love Waller. And Jacobs, he's got himself a little hip issue, but if he's there and he's healthy, it's going to go well for them, and it'll be a tough game against the Chargers. But I like to see LA get a win too.
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
I think for me personally, I'm starting Hunter Renfrow because I know how big of a playmaker that he could be. And for the same reason Jason pointed out, they're playing against this Chargers defense, which even if Justin Herbert gets a lead, they're surely to blow at some point during the game. So I would definitely expect at least somebody to go big for the Raiders. I'm going Hunter Renfrow. I think it's okay. I would agree that you could start Darren Waller, but in my opinion, I think the safer choice is Hunter Renfrow.
All right. He loves starting Renfrow, so can't take anything away from that. He loves him.
Yeah, a perfect slot guy. I mean, the slot guy has become the almost the biggest thing in football. You look at Edelman, what he became. You look at Beasley. Beasley being in Buffalo, he's been that key kind of slot guy, and that's been kind of the money. And it's hit or miss though, because you don't know if it's gonna be great or it could be average or it could just be horrible because they're not allowing the passes to get to them. So that's a great point.
I love it when they put their best wide receiver in the slot, whether it's in a trips formation or they throw that throws the defense for a freaking loop. And I love when they do that. I love it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Matt Ryan, if you look at DraftKings, it's in 18th ranked defense that he's playing against. They're playing against Denver, your boys. This is kind of a value pick, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this too. Matt Ryan is like winning games. He's kind of like Matthew Stafford. Winning games is average, but he's going to most of the time, he's going to get yards. He's going to get touchdowns. And to me, that it's kind of a middle of the road pick because anytime he's playing, it could be the flip of the coin. But anybody that wants to add on to that, Jordan, I actually let you go first since it's going up against your defense.
So the thing is, I'm starting my Denver defense today. So for me to start Matt Ryan would be kind of, going against, me scoring points if I have to calculate that fantasy football algorithm. But even with that being said, I can understand why people would want to start Matt Ryan because you're absolutely right. This Falcons defense can't hold the lead even if it tried. But you're really going to see, at sometimes the Falcon offense, scoring points here and there. They scored 25 points against Carolina. They got crushed by Minnesota at one point. So the thing about this offense, it's very inconsistent. So that's what I worry about with starting Matt Ryan. But if you need to get like a value pick, if you want to concentrate on other particular players, like getting a better running back, getting a better wide receiver, tight end, etc., I'm not going to say not to start Matt Ryan, but I'm not starting Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had quite a few choices, and Matt Ryan was not one of the guys that I picked. I don't like the fact that Calvin Ridley isn't there also, but even going deeper into it, look, it could go the other way. Like you remember, a couple of weeks ago, last week, Denver having that unbelievable win at the end of the game, back and forth. So that could happen. Denver does have a good defense, and honestly, I did pick them to go to the playoffs before the year started on 3rd and 3. So I do believe in them, and Drew Lock showed that he can come back. But as far as Matt Ryan, I just see a lot of mistakes that he can make in this game, and it's not one that I'm completely in love with. So Ryan is the guy that I stay away with. I see at least 10 quarterbacks I would take ahead of him.
Yeah. Sean, you want to add anything to that?
Perfect description. You had, with the coin, he's a flip of a coin, Matt Ryan. That's what he is right now. And like this team in general, Atlanta, they're shaky. The amount of losses, blown leads that they had this year, I don't really feel comfortable with them, especially in a toss-up game against, Denver. Like, I don't know, especially like we said already, Calvin Ridley's not playing, so he's going to go to Julio a lot. But we'll see how Denver's defense adjusts to that. They expect Julio to be targeted a lot. So we'll see what happens. I just don't trust Matt Ryan this week.
Yeah. He's always a tough pick, and he could go for 40, and then he can go for 15. It could kill you or make you stronger. Let's look at some sleepers this week. There's tons of injuries. So it's not easy if you're owning a team, a season team. It's definitely not easy because I've been scrambling so many times this year. It's not even crazy. Mike Davis helped me out a lot, but now Mike Davis is about to take a back seat because McCaffrey is coming back this week. So that hurt a little bit. But let's talk about some sleepers that you guys are either thinking about or maybe have picked up. Jordan, I'll go to you first.
So you guys are going to probably be shocked that I'm actually picking someone from this team. But what does New England like to do, or what is the Bill Belichick way of playing defense? Shut out your best weapon. So what we're talking about is like the number 1, number 2 wide receiver for the Jets being completely shut down. And I don't have those names off the top of my head, which I probably should have gotten. But nevertheless, what I know about Brashad Perriman is he's not the number 1 or number 2 wide receiver. So out of, you could say insanity or something like that, I am actually going to look at Brashad Perriman as one of my sleepers for the Jets.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, Jamison Crowder could be another one of them. He's he can definitely play too for the Jets. So I like that.
Yeah, and I got Perryman on my bench. Shout out to Speak Easy. Thank you for coming through. He said 49ers running backs are not to be trusted.
Nope.
Let's look at quarterbacks first. Drew Lock, he's available. Seems like in most leagues.
I'd start him.
Yeah.
Bridgewater, I know, obviously.
Yeah.
Bridgewater, Cousins, and Derek Carr. That's who available in my league. And then Tua, this is interesting with Tua because obviously he's an exciting player. You want to see him play well, but the fact is he does play for the Dolphins, and they had a great win. But that doesn't mean every single week he's going to be able to do that. And that was especially, against Darnold. So looking at those quarterbacks, what out of those that I just mentioned, who would you start? Jason, I know you already said, but Jordan, I know you already said, but Jason, who would you start out of those names?
Well, not Tua right off the bat, and that has nothing to do with him with the way that they won that game last week. They didn't need him. On the second play that he played, he got his face smashed into the ball, fumbled. So I need to see Tua more before I'm going to start him. But I did talk about Carr before, and I do like Cousins too because I mentioned this game is going to be a shootout. Justin Jefferson's turning into a number 1 wide receiver right before our eyes. They still got Adam Thielen. They love to throw the ball. I think there's going to be a lot of throwing in this game. So I would go there. Again, I think Stafford is a sleeper. Justin Herbert even. There's a lot of good ones out there this week. But, I like Cousins. I like Carr for sure, out of that list. I'd probably lean more toward Cousins because I believe there's going to be a lot more throwing. So I would probably go with him this week.
Yeah,
Carr,
definitely a good point.
Right there.
Good point. Jason? Sean, sorry.
No, back off of that, those are great picks right there. I do like Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr, of course, because of the division battles here, and those are going to be both offensive shootouts. But like you said, Jason, with Kirk Cousins, he's going to be throwing the ball a lot more, I feel like, than rather than Derek Carr. But I'll take Derek Carr in this one. I do think it's going to be a really high-scoring game against the Chargers, and he'll throw the ball enough for them to get the W.
Yeah. Let's look at running backs here, which DJ Dallas, somebody mentioned that. L. Bushman, he mentioned that earlier, and I think that's an interesting pick, obviously, because the Seahawks running backs can't seem to stay healthy. I don't know what it seems like after Beast Mode was gone. It's almost like this running back core has just been cursed because they didn't give him the ball in the Super Bowl. We all remember what happened there.
Well, everybody's getting injured, though, and that's really more a testament to the fact that there's no OTA, and we've been saying it before, there's no OTA, there was no training camp or very limited training camp, and there was no preseason, so there was no way for some of these running backs that probably need the conditioning the most, mind you, since, they're carrying the ball while the quarterback gets to stay nice and pretty in the pocket. But, the running backs probably need the more conditioning, like the defensive players, like the wide receivers. So I'm not surprised that running backs in this league this year are dropping like flies.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And Easy makes a great point. Phillip Rivers put up 41 on the Lions because he's going to have a field day.
There you go.
He's got weapons. All right, so DJ Dallas, you got Gus Edwards. He's available. Now you look at J.K. Dobbins. To me, that should be his job regardless. I think he's done enough, and you got Mark Ingram. I don't know what the status is on Mark Ingram. Let me look that up real quick while we're talking. He's doubtful, so it doesn't look like he's playing. So maybe you can give a look to Gus Edwards. But if I had to choose between Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins, I would go J.K. Dobbins. I don't know what you guys' thoughts on that.
I agree.
I'm sorry. I would go J.K. Dobbins too. And we talk about running backs in a backfield that we're not sure who's going to get the big numbers that day. That's another one also between Gus Edwards and Ingram when he's healthy. But I think that J.K. Dobbins needs to touch the ball more. There's no doubt about it. But Gus Edwards has proven over and over that he can run the ball right down the field. So it's a tough one for me, but I would go with the younger guy. I'd go with Dobbins to get some more carries this week.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I agree.
Sean?
Too. And look at Dobbins because you're talking about him getting more of a workload now, and that's what he did against Pittsburgh last week. He got more of a workload. I think he had about 13 to 15 carries, somewhere in between that, and he had slightly over 100 yards. So he had a decent day. Now I expect him to have. Now he's going up against the Colts. I expect him to have a good day as well.
Yeah. Now you look at another running back core. The Indianapolis Colts, man. You have Nyheim Hines. You got what's this guy's name? Jordan Wilkins, and then you got another running back like Jonathan Taylor is also in that backfield. That's another one of those that you just don't need to pick anybody from the Colts because
it's you don't know who you're actually going to get from any one of these running backs. It's a running back by committee in Indianapolis.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's hard. It's hard to pick running backs in that type of situation.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor should be the lead back. I mean, if you look at what he did at Wisconsin, I mean, he's a workhorse, but they don't seem to. I don't know if they don't seem to trust him all the way, or they just want to give him time to be healthy and not give him the ball too many times.
You see, to me, like in the beginning of the season, I actually drafted Marlon Mack just to see how long he'd be around, and he wasn't around very long at all. I mean, he was injured, but they were still giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor early on, and getting Nyheim Hines in there and everything. But Jonathan Taylor has not come on the way that we've expected him to, and Nyheim Hines is the one getting in the end zone as far as the running backs are concerned. So I'm with you on that one. That's a confusing one as well. I don't like particularly starting their running backs either because you're really not sure. And I believe Jonathan Taylor's a good player, but I haven't seen his NFL skills yet.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about, running back by committee. That's just not a good option to have right there. I mean, I got lucky with Jared McKinnon with the 49ers, but they're playing a running back by committee system too. So any particular teams that are doing that, I'd stay away from the running backs. There are plenty of other options that are out there.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you got Tampa Bay, Ben, Sean, you got them with Fournette, Ronald Jones. You don't know who it's going to be. Even in Buffalo, it's between two guys, Ben, Zach Moss and Singletary. They like to give Zach Moss the ball at the goal line, and they want Singletary to kind of like carry them all the way down. And so it's really hard with the running backs. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of Baltimore, because we were talking about J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, remember, some of those running plays are actually done by the quarterback too. So that's really a team that I just stay away from entirely from running backs.
That's a great point, because Lamar is going to get his too. Lamar is going to be aggressive, and he's going to try to catch the defense off guard. And that's kind of like, been his main, MO since he got into the league. I brought up the Patriots. You got Burkhead, you got I think it's Damian Wilson that's back there, and then I think there's one other guy too. Like that's another one of those teams where you can't depend on anything. And then David Johnson, who's on the Texans now. He's got traded over there. That's another one of those where like Jordan, I already see you shaking your head.
No. Don't start him.
And I made one of the biggest mistakes of this entire fantasy year by starting Darren Fells, which Darren Fells had like 3 touchdowns. And then the game I started him, he had 0 receptions. That was probably the worst decision I think I've made. But he seemed to be one of his favorite targets, but obviously it didn't work out. So I had to move on with my life on that one.
Probably wasn't National Tight Ends Day that particular week. So
that could be a reason why. Let's look at wide receivers now, which there's so many to pick from, but it depends on if you pick the right one, obviously. Steelers are a prime example. Juju, you got him. You got Deontay Johnson, I believe is his last name. And then you have Claypool, which Claypool's coming on late. Which one of those do you start? Sean, I'll go to you first.
This is so hard. It's really, you want to talk about a flip of a coin. Good luck with this one. But I have Claypool in actually half of my fantasy league, so I'm gonna ride with the rookie Claypool, hoping that he gets more involved. He had this one outstanding game, but like a few games after that, he was just about average. So hopefully he gets back to where he's projected. So we'll see what happens. But I'll take Claypool.
Okay, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Claypool too, because in my opinion, as bad as that Cowboys defense is, I mean, that Juju is going to get covered by the number 1. So Big Ben wants to find those easier targets. And, if Juju is going up against, the number 1 cornerback for the worst defense in the NFL, you got to imagine what the number 2 or number 3 quarterback looks like. So I would stick with Claypool. I definitely expect him to have a huge day. In fact, I expect a lot of these Pittsburgh players to have a huge day, because I think they have the potential to score 40 or 50 points this game today.
Yeah.
Even watch out for James Washington too. Watch out for that.
Yeah, watch out for him.
They're not expecting him to be involved in this offense, and Steelers might just toss him out there.
Yeah, another guy, man.
Let me tell you this, guys. Here's the reason why I'm not going Claypool, and I do have him on my team. I'm starting him, as a matter of fact, because it's freaking Dallas, so why not? Juju Smith, I like, and he seems to be coming on more. But you know what? Deontay Johnson, and here's the reason why. You can't get to Big Ben, and Dallas ain't going to get to Big Ben. Their offensive line has been top 2, 3 in the league all year long. And Deontay Johnson is their burner. So he's going to sit back there for 3 seconds or whatever it is, wait for Deontay Johnson to get 50 yards down the field and toss it to him. And that's going to happen at least 3 or 4 plays they're going to design for him specifically to get downfield on open plays, post flags, whatever it is. So I think that he's going to be the guy with the monster points, where as the other 2 may be more consistent. So I see what you're saying there. But in this game, watch him. He's going to get 20-plus fantasy points today, DeAndre Johnson. I really believe that.
All right, you convinced me. I'm picking him up right now.
This is the great thing about doing it before is that we can still adjust our teams, just like all of you guys out there watching and viewing in. Here's a major question that I'm going to present to you, Jason. When you look at the 49ers tight end core, you don't have Kittle, which that's a major blow, not only to the 49ers, but also to fantasy. But what guy, if somebody's looking at someone to pick up at tight end and they want to, and this is kind of a going forward question, who would you say on that 49ers team is the kind of the solid backup or the guy that's going to get the most looks?
Well, I was hoping it was going to be Charlie Warner, a guy who came in that we drafted, a big dude out of Iowa, but it's going to be the veteran Jordan Reed from here on out. If he can stay healthy, they want Jordan Reed. He's a veteran player, been around for Washington, another team that can't get it off the top of my mind right now. But yeah, they're going to rely on him, especially being a veteran and with all those other guys around the team who are like, oh my God, I'm playing in the NFL right now. He should be the one to be in there and be the huddle. And I think that you look at that guy, and I'll be honest, he's not going to give you a ton of points, but if you're looking for a tight end from San Fran, he'd be the one.
Yeah, and that's the one that's top on the list as far as tight ends available. There's also let me go to my list. Kyle Rudolph. Oh my God, Kyle Rudolph is like money like once a year. And you can never find out which game that's going to be because he's going to get. There's going to be one game a year. He's going to get like 3 touchdowns, and then everyone is going to go rush and pick up Rudolph, and then he's going to do 0 for the rest of the season. And that's the weird thing about Rudolph. But also, let's talk about the Browns. With the Browns, if you look at their tight end core, that's kind of like everybody else's running back core we've been talking about. Njoku. What's the other guy's name? Graham. I think it's Harrison.
Graham. Yep.
And Harrison. It's like, which one of those do you pick? And this is an interesting week, like we just talked about earlier. Without having Baker Mayfield, which one of those would you guys pick up? And who's starting for Baker, by the way? Who's the backup?
I believe it's Case Keenum.
Yes.
Keenum.
One of my favorite quarterbacks.
If they give him a Minnesota jersey, they got a shot. If they just let him wear that, and maybe they have a chance. You never know.
Yeah.
I wish he did that in Denver, but there we go.
Let him wear anything purple, and be good to go.
Blame that on Elway. Blame that on Elway. I think that's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold my judgment on Elway. I really believe he picked up the right guy in Drew Lock. He's gonna show that today when we crush Atlanta. Yes, I did say that on the air that he's gonna crush Atlanta. So I will hold all judgment for Elway until the end of the season.
Okay.
Hey guys, I just gotta head out. So I appreciate you, Ben, for having me on.
Yeah,
and definitely we'll do this soon, man.
Definitely, no problem.
Take care, Jason.
Sean.
All right, Sean. We'll tell stories soon. Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully the Giants lose. We get out of there. But if you look at one of those Browns tight ends, who would you go to, especially with this kind of weird week?
Here's the thing. I'm just staying away from any Browns options at this point, but I guess I'll go David Njoku. But here's my problem. Either the Browns, they can have great games against some pathetic teams out there. But then when they actually start to play a real team, then you start to see their offense kind of slip away. They actually kind of remind me of another fraudulent team, the Los Angeles Rams, for some reason. But that's another story for another day. For me, I'll go David Njoku. But again, I'm just staying away from any Browns option that's out there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, I don't want to waste any time. I don't think I could have said it any better. I would stay away from him. Stay away from all of them. No doubt about it. No Baker, no OBJ, obviously. So stay away. But Njoku would be the guy if you had to pick one. And you're crawling for somebody. Then go grab him. That would be the one.
Definitely. Shout out to Antoine Smitty-Smith. Thank you for coming through on the
What's up, Antoine?
Side. Drop any questions if you have. If you got a sit or start question. We love those. That's what we live for. That's what we do on the show.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. Defense-wise, which we brought up a few defenses already. Now, in my Yahoo League, there's a couple of defenses available. Green Bay, which that they're already over with. They already played. But New York, Arizona, the Jets. Nobody's picking the Jets at all. So
hell no.
That. Minnesota and Seattle. New York, this could be a very appetizing spot for them. You're actually going up against the Washington football team, which they're not going to ever be there, at least not this year. This is not their year. But out of New York, Arizona, or Minnesota, or Seattle, let's throw Seattle in there too, especially with a matchup with Buffalo. That's going to be a tough one. But who would you guys pick out of those? Jordan, I'll go to you first.
This is a tough decision between two defenses in particular. I'm looking at the Giants and I'm looking at the Seattle defense specifically. Here's why. I'm going to start with Seattle first. What I like more so is just the matchup specifically. As much as I like Buffalo, and I do believe that they're going to win the division, their offense is as inconsistent as it gets. We just talked about the Jets earlier, which can't do anything right now. This Jets organization yet. Buffalo only scored about 18 points against this team, and it was all field goals. Kind of reminds me of what happened with Brandon McManus when we beat the New England Patriots, just all field goals. So, and the fact that they could look great in some games and they could look like crud in some other games, I like Seattle's an attractive option, but you're right. This Giants defense, listen, they're 1-7, but they're winning in the deficits are only one possession games. And I do think that Joe Judge is going to be, the coach moving forward for the Giants. I do like his system, and I think the players are starting to believe in it. Kind of actually reminds me of what the Miami Dolphins went through last year in terms of having to trust Brian Flores. Now, I don't see Washington having a future, but because they're called the Washington whatever. They don't even have a football name. I don't like their owner. Everything stinks about this Washington organization. So if you had to put, if I had to flip a coin, I'm going to pick the Giants defense in this one.
Okay. I like that.
I can understand why you say that. Last game they played, I believe it was 21-20 or 2019, so not a lot of points. And the Giants' defense actually is underrated. Nobody looks at their defense because their offense is always turning the ball over, but their defense is actually pretty good. So with Kyle Allen out there, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But the more attractive defense to me is the Cardinals today, and that's because Tua is coming on the road, across the country, first game. We still don't know exactly what he can do. Now, I wouldn't pick the Arizona Cardinals defense probably against anybody else in the league at the moment, but Ryan Fitzpatrick and them, they were doing a solid job. I wouldn't think about it. But again, without knowing what Tua is going to bring to the table, I threw for 97 yards last week, 91 yards. You're going to have to do a hell of a lot better than that against Arizona. So if they find themselves down 14-0 early, which is possible, and I know Miami has a good defense in themselves, they really do, but that can make pressure for this rookie, get really under pressure, worry what's going on, throwing a pick here, making a bad read, whatever it is. This guy is new to the game. He's in Kyler Murray's house right now, and I think that the defense is going to feed off all that and wanting to get after this guy.
Yeah.
See, I would agree with your pick. I totally understand the Arizona Cardinals defense, especially playing against this young rookie quarterback. My hesitation is I just see what Arizona's done this year, and their defense hasn't done a whole lot. But more specifically, Tua Tagovailoa already has been put through the fire with the Rams defense, who, as much as I like to pick on them, I do believe they have a much better defense than the Cardinals have. And, Aaron Donald is just such a monster out there. For Tua to survive that test, get that win out there, although I will predicate this, that was mostly because of that Miami defense. And by the way, they killed it for me in fantasy last week, I might add.
And special teams.
And special teams, by the way. But more of the point, because Tua has already been through that tough test, has got a win, has got some motivation, confidence, I'm actually looking for Tua to have a much better day than he did last week. So that's why I'm a little bit off the Cardinals defense for right now.
Okay. I like that. I like that Denver mug. You kind of like you got the Kermit when you got the. All right, we got some questions here. First off, Kareem Hunt may be a solid option. Definitely 49ers.
All right. Just make sure we're on the same page over here. Super Bowl 1988.
Yep.
You know what? I remember what was it the schedule like in terms of the conferences. I think the AFC West plays the NFC West next year, so we can hold all trash talk until then because we all know who's going to win that game.
Well, as of right now, you guys would beat our brains in because we're playing with second and third stringers. So
I know. We get to, but we'll actually get to have some fun next year when all our boys are at full strength.
Oh yeah.
True.
Ball, bro.
Steelers defense may score 20 points today. I agree with you, and I hope so. Sorry,
it's a huge start for me. Start that Steelers defense. You're absolutely going to love the fact that they killed us Cowboys. No offense, Ben.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm done this year. I'm just watching for entertainment for the other team. All right, we got a question from Jack Young. Thank you for coming through. He says DeAndre Johnson or Devontae Parker. That is a good one right there. I'll kick it off. I would say Devontae Parker. Now, I know we just talked about Tua, but DeAndre Johnson is in a group with so many other guys. He could be the odd man out this week. But, Jordan, I'll go to you.
So I just praised the fact that I think Tua is going to have a good day against this Cardinals defense. And I also understand that Devontae Parker, I believe, is the number one wide receiver there. But in terms of opportunities, he may be limited because as much as that defense in the Cardinals I don't trust, he's going to be probably covered by Patrick Peterson, who I still believe is one of the top corners in this league. So because of that, he's probably going to look towards, his second, his third, his tight end options. So I would sit Devontae Parker. Now, Deontay Johnson, you're absolutely right, Ben. He is going to be, sandwiched in between all these particular players. But Deontay Johnson probably just needs 1, 2, 3 players. He's going to find some holes in this Swiss cheese of a Cowboys defense. And I do believe he's going to go big. He's going to go big in this game. So I'm starting Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
I love your analysis right there. That was absolutely spot on, no doubt. And you stole my thunder calling the Devontae Parker thing. I mean, you did, but you know what? I'm proud of you because that was perfect, man, right there. I would totally agree. Devontae Parker, he's going to get covered by Patrick Peterson, and you saw what he did against DK Metcalf, had 1 catch for 17 yards. Now, you don't want to put that all in a box, but like you said, Patrick Peterson's still one of the best cornerbacks in the game, and if he singled up on Parker against the rookie quarterback, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Deontay Johnson again all day again because Big Ben's going to have time. He's going to have his wall of linemen out there, and Deontay Johnson's going to be way past them Cowboy defenders, but they even know what the hell is going on. So I got Johnson. And you're right. It can only take 3 or 4 plays for him to get 15, 20 fantasy points. I totally agree.
True. Great analysis there. All right. Is Josh Allen a surprise against the Seattle defense? This is a good question because the Seattle defense, I think in our minds, we think, oh, this is Seattle. They have a stout defense, but they don't really have one this year. If you look at what they went through with Arizona and just how Kyler Murray just tore it up, man. I mean, there was no defense being played at all. And there was plenty of passes where Kyler Murray just had to throw it far enough and the guy was just able to run and catch it. So to me, it's not going to be a surprise this week against Seattle. I think Josh Allen's going to have a good day, and I think he's going to give you the solid points that he's been giving you every single year. I can't tell you who's going to win this game because I think it's going to be a great matchup, but I don't think it's going to be a surprise with Josh Allen this week. I'll go to you first, Jason.
Yeah, not at all. Listen, if Nick Mullins and the 49ers can put up 27 points on the Seahawks, then okay, I think Josh Allen, John Brown, Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs, and all those dudes can do that kind of job. So like I said earlier as we started, this is a get-right game for Josh Allen. I like the Bills even to win the game this week, even though Russell Wilson was my preseason MVP, but they got nobody running the ball right now. Yep, they will be able to pass, but the Bills are a better defense. So bottom line for me is, yeah, Josh Allen, you got him, you start him. If you can get him at, some cheaper price or whatever, yeah, Josh Allen's a definite start for me.
Yeah. Jordan?
I'm going to have to disagree with you both. I'm very, 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 I just don't trust Buffalo right now. Listen, you could give me, the good games that Josh Allen has had so far, and he's had some good games. I will admit that. But if you can't do anything against the Jets, and if you get stopped the way that you did by Tennessee, who I will remind everybody lost last week to the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow. So, what do you want me to say about this Buffalo Bills offense? I cannot trust them right now. Now, if you want to take Josh Allen, I understand where you're coming from. That Seattle defense is garbage. They are not the Legion of Boom. They're Legion of Boo Boo right now. So you can start Josh Allen, but I'm not.
Okay. All right. I got a very appetizing one for you, Jordan. I'm going to let you kick this one off.
Oh, wow.
Tim Patrick or Zach Morris, PPR. I'm going to let you kick this one off first.
So let me go ahead and take a look because, I do like Tim Patrick. He is actually starting to emerge as one of our top wide receivers for the Broncos. I mean, I thought he just looked good, on the game against the Jets because they were playing against the Jets. But, I've seen so many other games that Tim Patrick has really started to be like the leader, been able to catch some really tough passes. Now, Zach Moss, who is playing for the Buffalo Bills, I will admit, he is playing against that Seattle defense, but as I've said before, I just don't trust where the Buffalo Bills offense is going. Tim Patrick, he's going to have some holes against Atlanta defense, especially if they decide to score a few points because they're accustomed to blowing leads. So I'm actually going to go Tim Patrick on this.
Okay. All right, Jason.
Tough, guys. This really is tough. Look, Tim Patrick, I think they're moving him to the slot this week, right, Jordan, if I'm not mistaken? You'll get back on it, but I think they're moving him to the slot this week. That could be a really good thing or a really bad thing. We're not sure yet, depending on the route tree, what they're going to do with it. But Zach Moss, he's not going to get you a ton of yards, but he could get you in the end zone a lot. But I also believe they're going to want to give him the ball more. And again, we're talking about Seattle's defense. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. Atlanta's defense not any good, but that's another one. You got Tim Patrick, you got Jerry Jeudy out there, so there's other guys to figure out who you want to give the ball to. Tim Patrick could have a really nice day, but I think Zach Moss maybe the more sure guy because points are going to be scored and there could be a pass interference in the end zone. And there you go. Moss got 6 points, touchdown, just like that. So I think that's why he would win, but that's not a slight on Tim Patrick.
Yeah, and this is a tough one because.
And I will say this, by the way, Tim Patrick is coming up off a sore hamstring. So if you're concerned about that injury, then you may want to stick by Zach Moss. I'm still looking to see if he's going to be playing the slot wide receiver or not.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot like that. I thought I may have heard something. God bless you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, I would actually go Tim Patrick here because Zach Moss is again one of those backfields where you don't know who's going to be the guy for that week because obviously with Singletary and with him, and Patrick is one of his favorite targets. So I think that's something that I would go Tim Patrick and I would go in that direction with that one. Let's go another question here. How will Antonio Brown do this week against the Saints? Man, that is a great question. The one thing I'll have to say, just on the onset of seeing him walking into that Tampa Bay building, is that he looks different. Now I don't know if that's just because he knows his opportunities are limited, or if that's truly because he's ready to play this year and he's going to put all the other stuff behind him. But I don't know how he's going to do. I think this is kind of like a test moment. Where, kind of like what they did with Le'Veon Bell. They gave him a couple carries, kind of test him, see what he has. But I'm not expecting him to go off. If he does, I would be surprised. And also, this is like a grab and stash. This is somebody you're going to have on your bench until you kind of see how he progresses.
You make all great points right there. I did pick him up in 2 of my leagues as soon as I heard that he was going to get signed. So I'm not playing him today because I want to see how many plays he does get. He may only get 15 plays on the field. That may be it. And just kind of like you say, see how he does in the offense, get him in. But the one thing that I keep thinking about last year is how he just went to New England and him and Brady connected in that first half. Like it was nothing. He just got there. And obviously Brady advocates for him. They sleep in bunk beds together.
Like stepbrothers.
I mean, they really are. It's unbelievable. So they got this connection, but still, I would definitely bench him for a game. And then, hey, look, if he explodes, good for you. You got him. Then play him next week.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not starting Antonio Brown this week. Listen, he is going to get a limited number of snaps as he is, but even moving forward, you know how Tom Brady likes to operate. He goes after not just one specific target, but he tries to lay out the ball with, he tries to spread the ball around.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Another great question from Jack Young. Thank you for coming through. Colts or Cardinals defense, which you talked heavily on the Cardinals, Jordan. What's your take on that?
So this is interesting because I look at both games, and again, Tua I think is going to have a better day than people are going to give him credit for, just because he's always been put through the fire. Now, what's interesting about the Colts is I look at the Colts-Ravens game as like a big time kind of game. Like this is high stakes because for the Colts, this means them staying alive in the AFC South division. For the Ravens, this is kind of like, a prove it kind of game. Like, prove to us that you can hang around with the AFC competition. And when I just look at stats in this particular type of scenario game alone, Lamar Jackson doesn't play that well in these particular games. So when I look at both situations, I'm actually going to hang around and play and stick with the Colts defense this time.
Okay.
Question. Go, Ben. This is a great question.
Yeah. I would actually go Cardinals because Cardinals actually going up against the Dolphins. This with Tua, I think the biggest thing is each team he plays is gonna try to confuse him at all costs. They're gonna give him different looks because he hasn't played that long in the league. So I would go with the Cardinals. I think the Colts and the Ravens is going to be a back and forth type of game, and who knows? The Colts could win, but this could just end up being a close game with a small amount of turnovers, which turnovers is important when it comes to defenses. So I would go Cardinals.
Yeah, you guys heard me, talk about the Cardinals defense in this game particularly. And, another thing with Miami is that they have no running game right now. Myles Gaskin is out. They're looking at Matt Breida to hopefully carry the load. So that's another thing where Tua can't just turn around and hand the ball to somebody and say, oh, okay, and work off play action pass so much. Again, Arizona doesn't have a great defense. The Colts do. It's a matchup. Look, I'm up and down on this one, even thinking about it and talking to you fellas right now. I think that the Colts could do a very good job, but if Lamar Jackson decides that I'm going to take over this game and I'm just going to run my ass off all over the place, that could be a major problem, and that's something that the Colts are going to have to deal with on a whole nother level. So to be safer, again, I think I have to go Cardinals on this one because I, again, don't know with Tua. Their offense is very limited, and Patrick Peterson's going to eat up Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see where you gentlemen are coming from. I mean, listen, the Cardinals defense, this should be a prime opportunity to knock a rookie off his back. And, if Lamar Jackson goes absolutely off, if he has a Lamar Jackson type of game, then the Colts defense is screwed. But in my opinion, I just don't see Lamar Jackson doing it against, a stage in Indianapolis where Indianapolis needs this particular win. I do believe this defense is going to step up in a big way and help this Colts defense win today.
It's a huge game. Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah. A lot of great games.
I'll be watching my Broncos in the meantime, but I'll definitely keep my eye on the Colts.
Gotta get a TV set up, man. That's all.
Yeah, hey, I got two laptops. So I got one laptop with the Broncos game, one laptop with the Colts game, and we'll go from there.
Boy, you're all set.
Nice. Eric Ebron could have a big day. Facts, man. Any offensive player on the Steelers could have a big day. The tight end could have a big day, and I don't even think they have a tight end. So I'll leave it at that. Eric Ebron could definitely have a good day. The fact is, again, like we've been saying, Which one is it going to be, though? It could be the wide receivers could have 2 touchdowns each, and Eric Ebron could have a couple of looks, but no end zone targets. And James Conner is the guy that they give the ball to in the red zone. It doesn't matter. That's their guy. So I think Eric Ebron could have a good day, but it depends on who's going to be. Jack Young, he says last one, and that's okay, man. Keep them coming if you got more questions. But Damian Harris or Latavius Murray? That is a great question.
Damian Harris or Latavius Murray? Let me see.
Let me tell you one thing about Tampa's defense while you're checking this out, Jordan. They're one of the worst teams in the league as far as running backs catching the ball out of the backfield. Now, who does that better than anybody in the entire league? Alvin Kamara.
And I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to levitate towards Latavius Murray. And it's not even because of the fact that Latavius Murray is playing against that putrid running defense that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have. It's because with Damian Harris going with this New England offense that has not proven to me really much of anything, that their offense has definitely taken a big, huge step down since that Denver game, since that San Francisco game. And, they haven't looked the same since then. And because of all that, I'm not trusting any running back from the New England Patriots to actually have a good day. Now, I get it. They are playing against the Jets. This should be a prime opportune time for New England to get themselves back on track. But we said the same thing about Buffalo, and look what happened there. So I'm actually going to roll with Latavius Murray in this one.
Well, think about that, guys. Ben, that's like kind of the point where, they were able to do that against the Bills last week and almost win. If, Cam fumbled, that broke my heart right there for him because I thought they were going in for a touchdown. So it kind of shows, that again, like we're talking about the Bills defense, I'm not so sure or whatever, but we were talking about Damian Harris even a couple of weeks ago. I said he's going to be the guy going forward. Now, he hasn't been tremendous, but he had a good game last week. I might lean towards him because I think they're going to go to Alvin Kamara a lot more in this game, a little bit less running, I think. And look, if Michael Thomas is there, he's going to want to get the ball and stuff. So I might lean Damian Harris, but to all our points, what we were saying before, we don't know which freaking guy's going to be in the backfield. So it's so tough, man. But Latavius Murray is going to get carries. That's for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
And to add on to that, Damian Harris is questionable. He was limited in practice, and he has an ankle issue that he's dealing with. So when you think about Belichick's going to give it to the guy that's ready to go. He's not going to babysit somebody and say, I'm still going to give you touches even if you're not ready. So this could be a huge day for Burkhead, which Burkhead's not, really I don't really even consider him a true running back. He's more of a, pass and catch out of the backfield type of guy. So that's a really tough one, but I think it's kind of a clean sweep from us. I think Latavius Murray is probably going to be the guy. All right, we have none other than Donald Jamal Trump that just came through on on YouTube. I guess he's on the golf course. He decided to play fantasy this week. I don't know, but
it's better than what he's been doing in the office so far, for sure.
Fuller or Claypool, which we talked about Claypool there. I'm assuming Will Fuller. I don't trust Will Fuller at all. Not because I have anything against him, but you just never know what it's going to be, and you never know what that Texans offense, because 9 times out of 10, Deshaun Watson's going to be running for his life. So I don't know who's going to be, and who do they play? They play Jacksonville this week, so it's an appetizing, matchup. But I would go with Claypool because it's just the fact of this Cowboys defense hasn't been able to stop anything. So besides COVID, they've stopped COVID because none of them.
I mean, it's so tough for me in this particular situation because normally I would stay away from Houston wide receivers if they're playing against a competent team, but Jacksonville does not happen to be the case. They actually are not a competent team, and they don't have the greatest defense in the world. Now I did say that anybody in this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, especially Chase Claypool, I'm high on him too, especially playing against the Cowboys defense. I mean, you really have a tough decision here, if I have to say so myself. But because of the fact that I trust the number one cornerback, because, they consider Will Fuller the number one wide receiver in this Houston Texans lineup. Because I trust the number one quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars defense more so than I consider the number 2 or number 3 cornerback for the Cowboys to do much of anything, I am going to bet myself on Claypool.
Okay.
I like that a lot. I think I might agree with you over here because I'm thinking Fuller a lot. Look, that's Deshaun Watson's guy and everything, but he's another one of those dudes where you're either scared for your life that he's going to twist an ankle or that he's going to have one of those 1 or 2 catch games with 4 targets. Other than that, Will Fuller would be my hands down pick. But I really believe that, again, Pittsburgh's going to score 38, 45, 162 points this week. So I think that every wide receiver.
I could see Ben throwing like 6 or 7 or 8 touchdowns today.
Yeah.
Man, look, everybody on Pittsburgh may score. Claypool may have a couple of touchdowns. So, look, I got to lean in that game. I'm sorry, bro. With Dallas and everything, it's just, my God, their defense made Kyle Allen look like Joe Montana, for goodness sake. My God.
Listen, that Steelers defense is going to have an early Thanksgiving feast today. No offense.
I agree. Garrett Gilbert is starting this week. I
start that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Let's go.
Oh my God! And then you had the kid last week, DiNucci, throwing sideline passes.
Ben DiNucci.
DiNucci, that guy. Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes underhand pass last week. He's like, I'm just going to play around with these Jets. Yeah, a little patty cake. Yeah, toss the ball underneath. At Mahomes.
Yeah.
Patrick. Sorry, I don't want to be his mom.
Patrick. Really. She may be listening. She's probably got the back signal when somebody says Pat. Mike Linder says Fuller. Thank you for coming through. Antoine says Harris playing the Jets. Laugh out loud. I'll go with Harris. In the question earlier, which it depends who's the guy is going to be. And if his ankle's not 100%, he may not even finish the game.
But to respond to Antoine, listen, I get it. This is the Jets. This is probably they should get blown out in this game. My problem is it's not the fact that the Jets. I do believe the Jets still stink. It's the fact that I think this Patriots offense stinks as well.
Yeah. Probably the funniest comment of today. You started packing yet, Mr. President?
Yeah,
right. He's going to have a moving company that's going to have to come in and pack the stuff for him because I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, and then he's not going to pay that moving company and we'll go from there. Not to get into politics here, but
I know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, thank you, Antoine, for coming through. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel, which if you're still tuning in, drop that in the comments. He does a great job. He does everything Falcons. He does some NFL stuff too. But he's a great guy to listen to and great guy to check out.
No doubt.
Let's and we were talking about Will Fuller. The past 4 weeks, I got to give it to him. He's had over 10 points. So it's not and he's owned in 96% of the leagues. And so it could be a monster day. It's a lot of these are toss-ups. None of these are like a clear cut, pick this guy or that guy. So I think you can always pick Will Fuller if you want, but I wouldn't personally.
I let me tell you something. The one thing I learned about Houston this year, other than them finally getting rid of Bill O'Brien,
thank God,
is the fact that Brandon Cooks really is not either a good teammate, good enough. I don't know what it is because he gets traded every year and his numbers keep going down and down. And he's probably not going to be on the team next year even. I don't know what happened, but he looks so promising with the Rams. That even in New Orleans for a little bit. I don't know where that guy went, but he looked very promising.
Yeah, that's tough, man. He's been to so many different places. He was with the Saints at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's crazy to see how these guys just bounce around from team to team to team, and it's almost like they never really get into a groove. And I don't know, like you said, it could be an issue with coaching or something.
But yeah, that throws players off big time, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Let's as we guys got any more questions, drop those in. As we look at the flex, spot. In my Yahoo League, these are a couple of players available. DJ Dallas, Richie James, which Richie James had a decent day at 9 points. He's only owned in 2% of leagues, which is crazy. Gus Edwards, Jacoby Myers. Now, he's a New England Patriots wide receiver. Again, this is the New England Patriots. Who knows what this game's going to look like? Because the craziest thing is, it's almost like they fall back on let Cam run the ball, and so I'm like, you have Cam. To me, it's kind of mind-boggling because I was expecting some more creativity, and I don't know if that's just Cam trying to improvise or if that's actual plays being called. I don't know, but I would shy away really from anything on the Patriots at this point because they don't have an identity. They don't have. I don't think they have a true identity yet, and that always makes me want to shy away. And I've always shied away from Patriots running backs because even when the Fournette was there, you just don't know who's going to be it.
Yeah. Hey, Bill Belichick said so himself just a few days ago. He was interviewed and he said, look, we sold out, for these past however many years. They went after everything and they did what they did, had Brady, yada, yada, and now they're freaking broke. That's why Cam Newton got $1 million. They got no more money to give anybody, and now they aren't an attraction anymore because it's freezing freaking cold up there. Not many people want to play for Bill Belichick. This could be the start of a downfall for them, really. I don't know, because they always had Brady there to make Bill Belichick's, whatever it is his the way that he speaks to the team. I couldn't find the right word. I apologize. But Brady was always there to kind of like ease that tension, and he's not anymore. And I wonder how the team responds to him at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, Easy says Richie James, a.k.a. Little Ricky. I like that. Jack Young, which we did kind of touch on this. What about David Johnson's day, RB1? I would say no.
No.
I would put him in the flex. I mean, if this is like your season-long team, I would say you put him in the flex if you absolutely had to use him. But RB1, I would say no.
If you're desperate, then sure, but I'm staying far away from David Johnson.
But you know what? I don't mind the matchup, him playing, but if he's your running back 1, then I don't even want to know who your running back 2 is.
I pray for you.
Really, but look, against Jacksonville, yeah, he can get some points today, but don't expect the whole chunk. But yeah, that's very odd. Again, David Johnson. Just one great year in Arizona, and everybody thought he's going to be the next thing. Nope.
Yeah, next best thing.
The Houston Texans fell for it.
Yeah, they sure did. They fall for everything, but hopefully they're bringing the right guy next time.
Yeah,
I hope so.
The fact that they decided to promote Bill O'Brien, who wasn't handling the coaching job correctly, they promoted him to say, "Let's give you more responsibility, and let's see how that turns out." That's how it works.
It reminds me completely of what happened with Josh McAuliffe when he was here in Denver. I mean, we had a top. A lot of people forget about this, but Denver Broncos had Brandon Marshall, the wide receiver, at one point, who was looking to be one of our top wide receivers moving forward. He had a promising future ahead of us, and Josh McDaniels decides to trade him for a bag of peanuts. So I know all too well what happens when you let a Bill Belichick disciple go to your place and then not only become coach but become GM. It's absolutely disappointing. And yes, he got us Demaryius Thomas, and yes, he got us Tim Tebow for 1 year. So I won't knock him for that. But I totally get what Houston's going through right now, and I pity you. I pity you indeed.
Imagine how the Detroit Lions feel. Easy. I know you're listening. Imagine how they feel. Well, you thought you got like the defensive guru, Matt Patricia, aka Santa. He could play Santa, at the end of the year with that beard. But
we'll get my number two pencil, by the way.
Right, exactly. He's probably got one guy that has a bag of number 2 pencils just in case if he needs one. But that didn't work out either. Like the Patriots disciples don't always. I'm going to say it's almost less than 50% that they pan out.
I will say this. I am praying that Brian Flores breaks that streak because what he's doing in Miami is absolutely incredible.
I think he's going to. He's the first guy that popped in my mind, because there are a lot of others, like you said, Ben, but that team freaking loves him as a coach, as a person. And he's great. Look, when they were ready to tap out, he's like, F this. No, we're going. We're playing football, and whatever happens, happens. And you know what? They still got the guy they wanted, So maybe karma does work out. You do the right thing. But, yeah, I'm with you on Flores right there. He's the only one that stands out to me. Josh McDaniels cannot be a head coach. Do
not hire this guy as a head coach. Do not.
The fact that he was given the coach job, I remember this vividly. He was given the coach job. They actually posted it on Twitter. They had this customized graphic, and then 15 minutes later, he sent them a text "Oh, I'm not coming." So
I'm going to copy his mentor, Bill Belichick. He's like, "Yeah, I'm with the Jets. Now screw this. I'm with the Patriots." I
think he has that job in waiting too. I don't know. There's always stuff that happens behind the scenes that we don't know. But who knows how long Belichick is going to coach? But I think that's his job in waiting, and I think that's part of the reason why he stayed. Now, Easy said, "Look at the cap space." I think he's talking about the Patriots, and I'm pulling it up right now as we're talking. But they this is not characteristic to what Belichick is used to.
Right.
He's normally used to winning and not really having to truly worry about it. And now they have to worry about it. Their estimated cap space is $25.5 million right now, according to Spotrac, which is a great tool if anybody uses it. But this season's tough for them, and I don't know what they're going to do really going forward, because Jared Stedman, obviously you don't have that much faith in him, or you would have started him at the beginning of the season.
Right.
So
I agree. I guess they've seen enough of him, fellas. Otherwise, he would be in right now, because the Patriots season is going nowhere, and it's not like you paid Cam a whole bunch of money, so you could do what you want to do. And you're also Bill Belichick. You're a football god. But look, I hope that Cam actually stays with the Patriots and they just give him guys to play with.
Right.
Get some free agency. Be unorthodox. Do things that you haven't done in the past. Otherwise, you're not going to get to where you want to go. And obviously, they love acquiring draft picks and so on and so forth, and some of them really turn out great. Stop trading them away 2 years before they're done, and try to go win a Super Bowl. So he's very unorthodox with what he does, but sometimes you got to just look around and be like, the league has changed. I'm going to need to get me a speedster on the outside. I need to get me a bull rusher on the inside. I need an offensive line. I need my quarterback healthy. They got to start thinking that way, because they don't have the team they had anymore. It's just that simple.
True.
That's true.
True. And yes, Easy is definitely a gamble with the Patriots running back. No doubt about that. Shout out to Taryn Rodriguez. Thank you for coming through, man.
What's up, Taryn?
Big supporter. Let's see, who should I start this week? And he is a Chargers fan, so this is probably a tough question for him to have to put out there. But Justin Herbert or Deshaun Watson? I think that's an interesting question right there.
I'm gonna go with Tehran's boy, Justin Herbert, because I actually do expect that the Chargers are gonna upset the Raiders today. And here's the thing: the Raiders' defense is not a very good defense. Now, Jacksonville is not a good defense either. But when I look at specifically who I trust more, Justin Herbert has proven himself. He has a couple of weapons that he could use, and they are able to put up points. It's just their defense that gives up these big leads. It's not that the offense stinks. So I do expect Justin Herbert to have another great game as always. So I'm going to take him over Deshaun Watson.
Okay. I would actually go the other way. I would actually go Deshaun Watson, because like we've been talking about the defense they're playing against, there should be zero reason why Deshaun Watson shouldn't have a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown, because he's going to be running. So we know that. It's just a matter of how many yards is he going to get.
This one's so close to me, guys. It really is, because you know that Deshaun Jackson can do it all. What if they get up really big and then want to run out the clock in the second half? I don't know if that's going to happen. It's not like they're world beaters or anything, but no. Justin Herbert, and not that you can't with Deshaun Watson, you can count on both of these guys every single week. So it's really tough to pick. But because I think it's going to be a closer matchup with the Chargers and the Raiders, and I do have the Chargers winning myself, I think Herbert may have to do just some more Justin Jackson's the only guy he's got out of the backfield right now, so I think he's going to have to throw with the ball a little bit more. Whereas, Deshaun Watson, they could be over by halftime. So I would probably lean Herbert, but God, it's close. I would take either one of them.
Yeah, and also, his favorite target, Keenan Allen, which he's going to be playing. He got tested negative for COVID. So, I mean, this could really go either way. And you look at in the Yahoo League, their projected points are similar. I think it's 29.87 for Hibbert, and then it's like 28.95 for Watson. So I don't think you're losing, starting any of those. I know you're probably going to go with your boy, Herbert, but great question. Easy says, shake my head. Playing Santa gives gifts to all those offenses. Talking about number 2 pencil guy. And then he says, this is from Terrence, say a prayer for me, y'all. One of my leagues, I'm facing Deshaun Watson, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and the Steelers defense. Oh my God.
Wow.
You in trouble.
I'll give you a prayer there, my guy. Wow.
Because that Steelers defense is about to feast. So, yeah.
You think this guy's a Vikings fan or what? Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs.
Diggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That guy must be. Raiders defense has actually not been that bad. That's a good point there from Easy.
Depends who they play.
Yeah. Matchup makes a major difference. Sure. This is my uncle Clinton coming through, man. He put in the paragraph. He's a lawyer, so he's definitely one of those that'll break it down pretty well. Great points on the Patriots. Their formula of getting cheap, unknown players and getting rid of good ones before they become expensive. It's run its course. Their roster is the votes of talent on both sides of the ball. They gave Cam for dollar store prices for 1 year. They will not last. They're going to have to restructure their whole team. Yeah. I think you make some really good points there because they've been so used to having Tom Brady and all they have to do is plug and play. That's it. They don't have to worry about QB. And they decided to part ways, which to me, again, as we rewind back, is one of the craziest things that I would have ever seen happen. I was not expecting Tom Brady to leave the Patriots. I thought he would have been a lifetime Patriot. He would have retired there. His number wouldn't have run in the rafters. And, it just would have been one of those storybook, Kobe type situations. And it didn't work out that way. So I think they might have been caught off guard. And they waited way too long. I mean, there was guys, free agents going left and right, and they just seemed to wait, which I said, Cam, I said it from the jump. Cam would be a good pickup there because they're going to need something cheap, which he's going to be coming on the cheap. And I thought he would have been a good fit because that gives them something that they've really never had before.
The writing was on the wall from the beginning with this whole thing. We knew what it was, and maybe people didn't want to believe it. It's like, oh, it's still the Patriots. I know a lot of people who pick the Patriots to win this division still. And I'm like, do you know who they have on their team? Like, do you see what's going on? I mean, you need to have players. And again, if you don't have the GOAT there anymore, he's not going to make up for all those mistakes, Jordan.
Well, I was guilty of picking the Patriots to win this division, so I look like the biggest fool here on the show.
No, not necessarily. Hey, look, they lost a whole bunch of guys already, between COVID and then mixing around with quarterbacks. It's been tough. Yeah.
I mean, the way that this Patriots season has turned out so far, I was surprised because when I picked the Patriots to win this division, I was predicating on the fact that Cam Newton really wanted to, stick it to the Panthers franchise that let him go. He wanted to say, listen, let me show you what I could do, under this New England Patriots style. And I thought that would be a perfect fit for him. And I thought Bill Belichick would be a perfect fit for Cam Newton. But as we're starting to see this season, that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah. My uncle drops in another comment here. You guys are too young to remember, but the Patriot way was the Green Bay Packers of the 60s. Okay. And look how they collapsed after 1968. You bringing up a history lesson here because that's definitely before my time, which I'm sure you know that already.
Definitely way before my time.
Yeah.
Look at my face.
Thank you for that history lesson. Easy said he's got to go. He's going to set up his DraftKings lineup to take our money. Yeah, whatever you do.
Yeah, I'll get your money. Don't worry, Speak Easy.
Yeah, whatever you do, pick every Cowboys player.
Yeah, exactly.
Garrett, oh my God,
fantasy advice from Ben.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no bias at all. Just pick every Cowboys player. Yeah, it's going to be crazy this week, Cowboys wise. But I wanted to just look at Philly. Who is Philly? Is Philly on a bye week?
I think Philly is on a bye week. Yeah, okay. Philly is on a bye week. Yep,
Philly's on a bye week this week. Man, these if they don't win this division, it is being gifted to them on a silver platter with like birthday candles on it and like everything. Like there's no reason why they shouldn't win this. I don't know if we've touched on this, but what's your thoughts on the Eagles this year, Jason? I'll go to you first. It just seems like they don't want it. They don't want this gift.
Man, it does seem like that because they stink. And, we talked about Travis Fulgham. I still can't pronounce his name a couple of weeks ago, and he's been doing an all right job. But when Miles Sanders is in and out and you have no consistency, they have no offensive line. Fletcher Cox is their only good defensive player on the defensive line. They got too many problems going into this. And Carson Wentz is not Tom Brady, so he's not going to throw it around to everybody, but he's been doing a good job at it. Imagine if he had Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson was healthy all year and things like that. They'd be doing much better, obviously. Zach Ertz, he hasn't been around. So much like many other teams, they've been injury prone since the beginning, and it keeps going. And Carson Wentz is just keep trying to keep them afloat. I got a lot of respect for Wentz. I think he's a very good quarterback. He takes way too much heat. And they're probably going to end up winning the division this year by default. Every other team sucks, and they're really not that good either. But you know what? When you get them in the playoffs, something magical seems to happen. I don't know. Maybe Nick Foles will come back and, play for them before the end of the year. I don't know. But, even though they'll get in the playoffs, they're pretty much one and done. They got to get healthy. And again, you guys, every team, you have to build through the draft a lot. You got to understand that these kids in college, they're not there to, just to play around and joke around. They want to go to the NFL, and they have NFL rookies every year come in and take over this league. We see it happen all the time. That's the way you got to do things.
Yeah, true.
And I will say this, even though Carson Wentz didn't have the greatest game against the Dallas Cowboys, which, was very surprising to a lot of people, that is the thing. Carson Wentz has been playing, with not a lot of pieces that he's accustomed to. You talk about the injuries, and, this is the perfect time for the Eagles to have a bye week. This allows some of their players to get back on the right side of things, to get up back on the right side of health. That way, when they move forward, when we take a look at their schedule, because, and I'll pull up the Eagles right now, but they do have a bit of a tough road ahead. Well, okay, so after the bye week, they get to play the Giants. That should be a win for them. They get to play the Browns, which could either be a win or could either be a loss. And then, the Seahawks will be tough. The Packers will be tough. The Saints will be tough. The Cardinals will be tough. So maybe this NFC least division isn't done yet. But you're right. In terms of teams that I trust to actually do anything in this division, it is going to be the Eagles, because the Cowboys don't have a quarterback. They don't have a defense. The Giants, they got problems of their own because, they play all these close games, but they're not winning the games. And, the Washington, nobody cares about the Washington whatevers anyway.
Totally agree, man.
True. Yeah, the Washington whatevers, man. It is, which I don't know what they're going to change the name to. I think that's kind of the debate, that's been going on for a while, and it seems like they're in, I guess, talks or probably in negotiations with somebody to figure out what they're going to name it. But yeah, this division, I've said this before and I'll say it again. They just need to forfeit their playoff spot. Just give it to somebody else, please. Because it's going to be one and done.
And with Washington, they're talking about keeping the name, the Washington football team, for even next year. Yeah, just go pick a freaking name out of the hat already. Let's get this thing going. Get a team, get a logo, get your new uniforms, have a rebirth over there in Washington and everything. Get a team name. Washington Warriors, Hogs, whatever. I mean, come on.
The true rebirth is when you get Dan Snyder out of there.
True. Very, very, very true on a lot of points. And you can say the same thing about the Cowboys, man. They're not going to ever get back to the glory days until Jerry Jones is gone. It's just simple. And when you talk about McCarthy, man, which I was happy because it wasn't Jason Garrett, but was he that much better than Jason Garrett? That's kind of to be known.
It turned out to be worse.
To be determined. But I'm gonna give him a pass this year. Injuries and all of that. Next year, we'll see what happens. And I think also them picking up that defensive coordinator, which the guy's been around for so long. Like we got to learn. We got to stop just getting recycled coaches like that. That doesn't equal wins. You need that's why you see guys like the Rams coach that made it to the Super Bowl that year. You see Shanahan, you see Eric Bieniemy whenever he gets his job. I'm definitely counting on that team to go, far, depending on what he has and what tools.
Hey guys! Breaking news before we continue. I just want to give just want to take a moment of silence. Alex Trebek, I just learned has passed away.
Wow.
Yeah, that actually is breaking news and worthy of saying. I'm sorry to hear. Oh, damn it. That's rough. That's really rough, man.
Wow.
Jeopardy is one of my favorite shows, and I'll say this about Alex Trebek with all due respect. He was a pompous ass, but in the most beautiful way on the show. He just did it. He did it every day for so long. I mean, man. All right, I'm sorry to hear that. I can go on a lot. That's a tough one.
I mean, I remember, when I was a young kid, staying with my grandmother, we'd always watch Jeopardy, and Alex Trebek was probably the funniest host. As you said, he was pompous in terms of charming. Like he was able to work that charming personality very well, and I know he's been going through his battles, and I'm just glad that he's no longer in pain. He passed away peacefully in his home, and he's up there in heaven, just wishing us good luck on the show.
That's right. Right.
Thank you for that. That is breaking news that we definitely have to break. So yeah, rest in peace. Moment of silence to Alex Trebek.
He would say every show before they started, "Thank you, Johnny Gilbert," and then bam, right to the show. Yeah, Jordan, I'm with you, man. I will definitely say a prayer, no doubt. Oh, well, that's unfortunate news. Wow, I don't know who would even take over something like that. My gosh, you got to keep it going.
Yeah,
Alex Trebek would want us to keep this going, so let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, and the show too. I mean, like, who do you put into? I don't know what's been going on, through COVID and everything. But I mean, who would you even put in to replace?
You have to at least give Jeopardy a year-long break and figure that out, because that's incredible shoes to fill. Those are tremendous shoes to fill, and you got to have someone who is ready to step up and take his place, because there's never going to be a guy like Alex Trebek out there for Jeopardy.
The man pronounced every word perfectly, whether it was French, English, Spanish, it didn't matter. He practiced. I didn't see him mess up once in the whole time that he was doing that show. He was an absolute perfectionist of what he did.
Yeah, true, man.
Let's try to lighten the mood, guys.
Yeah.
Let's get back into
it. Cowboys can't win with Jerry as GM. True. I mean,
that's true.
Clinton.
That definitely takes it to another point there, and they just haven't been the same. And and the biggest point is Jason Garrett was there way too long. You just gave this guy pass after pass after pass. Well, maybe you'll do something this year. And he was just the most nonchalant guy I think I've ever seen. I just wanted a Denny Green moment for once. I wanted somebody to hit the podium and say, "We are what we thought they were." I just wanted somebody
let him off the hook.
Yeah.
No. I always think of Coach Jason Garrett's Coach Clapp. He'd always do this. He's like,
yeah. That's him.
The clapper. The clapper. Yeah. That was his nickname here.
Ben, super quick. We're speaking about your boys over there. Dak Prescott comes back fully healthy next year, no problems, everything's good. What do you think the Cowboys are going to do? You think they're going to throw him 4 years, 5, like whatever he wants?
I don't think he's a Cowboy anymore. Here's why. I'm just going with revision. I'm going with history here. In my lifetime, I remember 2 quarterbacks that were franchise tagged. This was Drew Brees with the then San Diego Chargers, went to New Orleans since the next year. Kirk Cousins was franchise tagged by the Washington whatevers, ended up going to the Minnesota Vikings the next year. Dak Prescott, same situation, same pattern will repeat.
I think he's going to be back, and here's why. They have learned, if they haven't learned anything in these past 4 games, is that they need Dak, and Dak has covered up so many holes, like this offensive line, which is they're going to have to completely rebuild it. And I think that he's going to be back, and I think they're going to pay him. I don't think they respected his value, and at this point, if you don't see it, that there's nothing else that you're going to see it with. And they love Dak, the Jones family, and the Jones family loves somebody that, i.e. Tony Romo, i.e. I'm going to go back in the day, Anthony Spencer, like all these random guys they just paid. Like if they love you, they'll pay you. And I think they needed something to kind of edge them along. And this is that thing that's going to edge them along.
Well, let me propose this to you. Instead of paying however much money it's going to be, 140, 150, $60 million. If you get first, second, third pick, would you take Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence and save that money and build around? Because they need a lot of freaking help.
They need a lot. I'm not.
I'd do it. I'd probably try to get a Justin Fields or a Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, I just don't expect Dak Prescott to remain a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, it's that's going to be the story of the all season. Quite frankly, the biggest story of the all season, because in the way this whole thing ended, it ended really abruptly with them having a really great season. So I wouldn't be surprised, especially you got new leadership now too. You don't have the old mindset of Jason Garrett. So with McCarthy in there, I wouldn't be surprised if they do, draft. Trevor Lawrence is obviously going to be there. Fields is going to be there. I don't think they're going to do it. It's a smart football decision though, because if you think about money, you think about having to rebuild the offensive line, you got to rebuild the defense, you got to have money, and they seem to snuff at free agents. A lot of the free agents we got this year, none of them, half of them aren't even there. Deontay Poe's not there. They had Clinton Clinton Dix. He was there for like a couple of Zoom workouts, and then he was gone.
Cup of coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you guys, go ahead.
Smart move, just financially, and these 2 guys coming out could be as good or better than Dak. So I don't know. Maybe I might roll the dice on that one, Ben, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and the Cowboys. They're kind of being gifted a top 5 pick. I don't know, it could be the first, depending on how many more games they win this year, which is probably not going to be a lot. So they could be gifted a top pick, and it depends on what they want to do with it. Give us your questions. We're still going to the top of the hour to NFL Sunday till it begins. We got a great slate of games this week. Since we're on and talking, let's go to the games. Let's do a pick 'em here.
All right.
And we'll still taking the fantasy questions. Any questions you guys have? But the first game up, which we kind of talked about some of these, so I'm gonna go to the games we haven't talked about so far. Bears Titans playing in Tennessee. We know that this all depends on Derrick Henry, or you can call him King Henry if you want, because he's the guy. But who would you go with? Jordan, I'll go to you first. Bears or Titans?
The way I see this game going, the Bears have a great defense, no doubt, and it's going to be tough for Derrick Henry and tough for Tannehill regardless. However, I will say this. The Titans are playing at home. They have lost 2 straight. They in order to stay alive in this race, they do not want to lose a 3rd game in a row, and they completely understand that. Not to mention the fact that Does anybody actually trust this Bears offense? Because I don't. I think 99% of America doesn't trust this Bears offense, which is why on fantasy we purposely avoided talking about any Chicago players starting on your fantasy team. So with all that being said, Titans are going to win today.
Okay. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I have to agree with him. I think Titans too, even though I'm a little shocked. I'm not completely shocked they lost to Cincinnati. I thought that might be a trap game to begin with, but to put up 15 points, losing against Pittsburgh the way that they did, they came back in the second half. Now, I agree with you. I don't think Henry's going to have a 150-yard day. I think this is going to be an A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith type of day where Ryan Tannehill is, he'll have some time. Defense, they can get to him. So there got to be some quick striking plays, but Tennessee's defense – I see making turnovers in this game. Nick Foles, he's bound to throw an interception or two. Fumbles come out. They don't have a great running game. Tennessee's pissed off, like you said, Jordan, so I echo a lot of what you said. And that's why they need to win this game. And if they don't win this game, despite the Bears having the record they have, they're really not that good. Then Tennessee's got really big problems and a lot of
Tennessee's got a lot of problems if they lose this game. Which is why, but I don't expect them to lose this game.
No, neither do I. I think they'll win pretty comfortably. Not a blowout because the Bears got a very good defense, but they should win at something. If it's even 2017, as long as they walk out with the win, they build more confidence, and let's see going forward.
Yeah, and I think I got the Titans winning too. Let me say that. But second of all, I think it's hard to trust Tannehill. I think he's I never really put him in that elite category for obvious reasons. He hasn't been able to win, everywhere he's been. But this is going to hugely depend on Derrick Henry, like what he did last year. I mean, he put the team on his back. I got to give it to Tannehill this year. He has been able to make some throws, that depending on what on the game writing on him, he had to make a couple throws. So I'll definitely give him some props there. But I would say that this is going to be a win by the Titans, but the Titans can only go as far as Derrick Henry basically runs and whoever he stiff arms, because he is king of the stiff arms, man.
Yeah, Chicago is, they're the king of knocking the ball out. It's not to do so easy against Derrick Henry, but
right.
Yeah, I think this will be a low-scoring game, but Tennessee just may be too much on offense to edge him out. Could be a field goal at the end of the game. Who knows? Gostkowski doing his thing again.
Yeah.
It'll be a good matchup. I agree there.
Yeah, let's go Panthers Chiefs. Now, they're playing in Kansas City. Like there should be no reason why Kansas City's not gonna really blow them out. I think the only thing I'm really looking forward to is Teddy Bridgewater and the wide receiver Anderson, because I got him in a couple of my leagues. But other than that, this is not going to be a good game, I think, for the Panthers at all. And I think Mahomes is going to go off. Edwards-Helaire is going to get his carries, and then this is the best offense in the league right now. You had Le'Veon Bell on as a flex guy, really. he doesn't even need to be the guy. So I don't really need to say more. I got the Chiefs winning big.
I got the Panthers win. I'm just kidding. The Chiefs.
I was gonna say, don't do that, Jordan.
I can't say that with a straight face. The Panthers are going to win. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the best goddamn quarterback on the planet. Of course, the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah, they are. It's not even like you have to make a lot of analysis in this game. But I'll tell you, from a fantasy perspective, a guy that you might see get 7, 8, maybe 10 grabs, Curtis Samuel. I think that he might do a little something in this game. In the short game, PPR obviously, but yeah, Kansas City's going to just smash the heck out of him. And Clyde Edwards is pissed off. He got 6 carries last week. He'll get at least 20 and run for $120.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. And I think also, it's not breaking news anymore, but McCaffrey's coming back. So McCaffrey's going to get, the majority of the carries. Mike Davis if you still have Mike Davis on your team, it's time to cut bait. And if something else happens to McCaffrey throughout this year, you can pick him up then. But McCaffrey is now the guy. He's back to being the guy.
Yeah, there's no reason to even. I agree with you. I mean, if you have a deep bench, maybe you want to keep him. Just God forbid, but yeah, at this point, I mean, look, they didn't pay Christian McCaffrey $5 billion so he can share carries. So yeah, DMC's back. That's it.
Exactly. All right, let's go Saints Bucks. Which, man, this is a fantasy. This is a beauty if you talk about fantasy. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ronald Jones, which he seems to be the lead back, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, which it seems to still be questionable. Let me look it up and see if there's anything going on, anything further on that. But this is like fantasy heaven right here. You can take your pick, at whoever you want. But in this game, they're playing in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is favored, but I'm actually leaning towards Tampa Bay, and I think the offense. I think also Drew Brees is on the back end of his career, honestly, and I mean Tom Brady is too. But I'm gonna give Tom Brady and the Bucks the upper hand today.
Yeah, the way that I see this game now, I'm even just going to go to a history standpoint. Drew Brees doesn't really play well in Tampa Bay regardless. Like, we talk about him, and he's deserving with all his accolades, but Tampa Bay is definitely his weakest place to play, in my opinion. And to couple the fact that now Tampa Bay has got all these weapons, you're going to have Antonio Brown thrown into the mix, kind of like, a Le'Veon Bell situation with Kansas City, if you will. So with all that being said, I definitely expect Tampa Bay to win this game.
Tampa Bay, I like that.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's a divisional game. It can go either way, but teams like this usually split, and oddly enough, they usually split at the other team's home. But I do like Tampa Bay in this game as well. They've got more of their guys back now. We'll see what type of threat Antonio Brown could be in this game, but you got Ronald Jones, you got Leonard on the ball. I think too many weapons, and Drew Brees has been making mistakes this season, and clearly his arm strength, we don't have to go over it, it has declined big time. And the way that Tampa Bay Bucks play defense, especially in the pass game, I don't know, man. The Tampa Bay may win this one by 10 points. More likely it'll be within, a 4 or 5 point game, but it wouldn't shock me if they win by double digits, Tampa. And Tom Brady, he don't lose to teams twice in the season. So that's another reason you want to go to them.
Great point. And Michael Thomas, he is questionable. Here's the latest update. Ankle and hamstring, but he is expected to play. Right. And you look at Michael Thomas, we mentioned his name earlier, the other wide receiver. Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook. I mean, he's going to be slinging the ball around. And then Alvin Kamara, the funniest thing about this entire conversation about this game is that Alvin Kamara is leading the team in receiving yards. The running back is leading the team. Obviously, with Michael Thomas being out, Emmanuel Sanders I believe he had COVID. He was out for a period of time. So they haven't had their full wide receiving core. So that should also make this a pretty interesting game.
No, I totally agree. It'll definitely make an interesting game, Ben. And we all get to watch Sunday Night Football.
Exactly. I know. Yeah. Listen, I'll tell you what. Sunday Night Football over the out of these last 2 out of the 3 weeks. I mean, Seahawks, Cardinals. You got this game. We don't necessarily have to talk about last week because it was an absolutely pathetic game. But everything else, Sunday Night Football's been on fire with.
Yep. Yeah. I got to give it to him. I mean, besides last game, that was the worst possible game they could have put on.
Why couldn't you put Ravens and Steelers on Sunday night?
Exactly.
Man. Watch that.
They flex games all the time. So it's not as if, it's something we couldn't do. And I said this, my last podcast was, attention NFL, do not put the Cowboys on prime time. And some people agreed and some didn't. But, look, the Cowboys sell regardless. But at some point, you got to realize, Ben DiNucci is not bringing in fans, okay? And Garrett Gilbert's not bringing in fans either. So, time to move on.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to look at a couple other things as we get to kick off, which will be coming up here in about 11 minutes. If you look at another interesting team, the Arizona Cardinals, which we talked about quite a bit today, but Kyler Murray is leading the team in passing, obviously, and rushing yards. And Kyler Murray, man, like that was a gift from God for Kingsbury, because I didn't have a lot of faith in Kingsbury, not even when he was at Texas Tech, because I'm here in Texas. But getting Kyler Murray was huge for them, and then making that blockbuster trade for Hopkins, I think was the best decision that they probably have ever made. Yeah, in the history of the organization, it's probably the best decision they've ever made.
Yeah. And get to learn from Fitzgerald. I mean, that's just another bonus there, Jordan.
I mean, what was amazing about kind of how all that worked out. Now, the reason why Kingsbury got the job, if I could remind some folks, is the fact that they were so reliant on him having a connection with Sean McVay, who at the time everyone was thinking that he was this hot offensive head coach. Well, a couple of years down the line, and we're kind of questioning that. But remember, in Texas Tech, where he was coaching, he also got the opportunity to coach Patrick Mahomes. So that's why a lot of people, specifically the Arizona Cardinals, said, "Oh, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy." And now, is all this success predicated upon how Kyler Murray is doing? Absolutely. But I will say that Kingsbury has definitely, at least proven something to us. I'm not sure that Kyler Murray would have had the same success if Steve Wilkes was still the head coach.
Yeah, maybe so. And you know what? And he said it from the beginning. He put his foot in his mouth. Cliff Kingsbury said, "Hey, I would take him number one. There's no doubt about it." I mean, he repeated that over and over again, so he could not take him. I was a little concerned, because he's like 4'7", but the kid can play football, man. He is a very good quarterback. He's going to be around for a while. He knows how to not get hit. The thing I just will worry about with Arizona a little bit going forward this year, I don't know how long Drake is going to be out. If Edmonds can do what Drake was doing, then that's great. They can definitely be a playoff team, but they won't be a playoff team until they get that defense somewhat straightened out up front.
Absolutely.
They have on that.
And Kenyon Drake, I believe he was out. Let me look it up exactly, because I had him in one of my leagues, and that didn't work out well. Obviously,
you got hurt. Yeah, I what do you call it? I mean, what do you call it? A trade with somebody in one of my leagues for Drake. He got hurt that game. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Couldn't believe
so he's for sure out this week. He's considered week to week, so he could possibly be coming back. But you made a good point, Jason. Chase Edmonds has been really good for them. And who knows, when Drake comes back, is that going to be Drake's job? I mean, you could even go that far as to say it, because Edmonds is projected this week to get 15 points, and he's owned in 93% of the leagues. He's had, double-digit points besides 3 games this year. So Edmonds could definitely be that guy. But I agree also, the defense, that division, man, is so good, from top to bottom. And it's almost like if your 49ers were in the NFC least, man, that would be the best team in that division.
If Speakeasy's Detroit Lions were in that division, they'd be tied or at least in the conversation for first place. And if you have to equate Detroit and first place in the same sentence, then you have a problem with your division.
I love it.
True. So true. So let's look at the standings as we're talking about the each NFL team. In the NFC West, Seahawks 6-1, Cardinals 5-2, Rams 5-3, and then the 49ers 4-5. That's, arguably you could say that's maybe the best division in football, even in both sides. Yeah, I would say it's the best division in football. I don't know if you guys want to refute that.
A lot of people say NFC South, guys, because of the Bucs and the Saints, and what could Atlanta do this year. But I'm taking bias completely out of it, fellas. I think the NFC West is by far the best division in football.
Absolutely. The NFC West is definitely a tough division to play in, and another one. Although you can make the argument that maybe Cleveland doesn't deserve to have the record that it does, but the AFC North is coming up strong too.
I agree. I totally agree with you, because they would be my second there.
And And not to be biased, but we talk about some of these young quarterbacks coming up. Justin Herbert, Drew Lock, Patrick Mahomes, and I'll give some respect to Derek Carr. Give that division 2 to 3 years and watch out for the AFC West.
Yeah.
Not bad. I can't
argue. I agree. Shout out to Tracy Porter. Thank you for tuning in.
What's up, Tracy?
You got any questions for us? We got about 5 minutes left to the top of the hour. Yeah, I agree. AFC North, 7-0. The lone undefeated team, which they'll be undefeated by the end of today too. So they'll be 8-0.
No, don't worry, folks.
No doubt. Ravens 5-2, Browns 5-3. Another interesting division, AFC South, with the Titans and the Colts with the same record. And both that could really go either way. And I think that the Colts is going to depend on Phillip Rivers. And like we mentioned earlier, the Titans are going to depend on Derrick Henry. But those two teams, which there is an extra playoff spot, those two teams could both possibly go to the playoffs.
The way that I have the AFC South rolling, so I do expect first and foremost that the Titans are going to beat the Bears. I also believe the Colts are going to beat the Ravens today. And so that would mean, well, what happens next week, right? So I'm looking into the schedule, and the Colts and Titans play on next Thursday, November 12th. So I believe this AFC South division is going to take a pivotal turn next Thursday when both these, and again, I'm predicting this. So that when these teams eventually go 6-2, when these teams go 6-2 on Thursday, that is really going to determine the course of where this AFC South division goes. But I also believe the loser or the second place team of this AFC South division definitely goes into the playoffs this year.
Very interesting, man. Because I'm with him. I picked the Colts to win the AFC South this year too, even knowing what Tennessee can do. I still like the Colts. I mean, their defense, offensive line, they got it on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So this Ravens-Colt game it's going to be an awesome one. I actually do believe that Lamar Jackson is going to have that type of game where they may squeak one out on the road. And I hate saying it because I've adopted the Colts in the AFC basically, but Baltimore is a really, really tough team. I know Lamar is pissed off right now, so I can see them taking a win in that game right there, but I don't want it. I'm rooting for Indy all the way because I was the lonesome one on 3rd and 3, so I want that.
Yeah. We got a question from Tracy. He says, what do you guys think of Joe Burrow, which you kind of touched on, but I think he is a young, great talent. And I think the main thing is you have to build around him, which he's already found a great target in T. Higgins. If A.J. Brown still stays there, I don't know. A.J. Green, excuse me, a little rocky there, but he's got a good running game. And but they're going to have to build that defense back up because it seems like they traded Carlos Dunlap, so they're kind of starting all over again. But, yeah, I think he's I'm not going to say great. I'm not going to call him great, but I think he's a top talent along with a lot of other, top QBs that came out.
Yeah, Cincinnati finally nailed it, guys. They got their guy. Joe Burrow is your guy. Keep him healthy, so make sure you get him an offensive line. That's number one. Keep the guy up straight because you don't want him getting hurt every single year. Otherwise, you'll never know what you have. So, yeah, build the offensive line, build that defense. You definitely got weapons. You mentioned T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, that Jordan, me and you both love that guy. And yeah, you'll keep drafting guys, but yeah, fix what you have to fix right now. You're not going to the Super Bowl next year or even the year after that, but Joe Burrow can take this franchise to a Super Bowl someday.
I'm going to say it like I've said all season. Joe Burrow is going to be a superstar in this league. It's up to the Bengals not to bungle this up.
Well said, bro. I totally agree. That's the truth. That's really
great point. Great point. All right, last division to look at. NFC North, Packers 6-2, Bears 5-3, Lions 3-4. This could be a three-way tie at some point this season, which I don't put it past it. But the Packers are clearly in the driver's seat. This is going to go as far as what Aaron Rodgers can take them.
The Packers are winning this division. Detroit does not have a chance. Listen, Ben. I love you, but Detroit does not have a chance at all. I'm not. Listen, they still have to play Green Bay once, and they still have to play Chicago a couple of games. And these aren't the Minnesota Vikings that you could easily squeak a win out of. All right, these are actually goodish teams out there. So I don't put Detroit in this three-way race. I do believe that they have a promising future, but they need to get Matt Patricia out because he has not worked for this Detroit Lions team whatsoever. Now let's talk about the two teams that have a chance, the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. The problem with the Chicago Bears is they don't have an offense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. However, to Green Bay's point, besides playing against, when you have Nick Mullins as the quarterback you're going up against, besides those type of games, that defense really hasn't proven itself, in my opinion. So what Green Bay needs to do is, I don't know if you need to make maybe not a trade, but they need to strengthen up their defense because to Chicago's antithesis, Green Bay does not have a great defense. So, but however, how I see this going, Green Bay first, Chicago second, and I think Chicago barely gets into the playoffs, but I don't expect a whole lot of noise from them.
Yeah. I think he makes a lot of great points. I'll keep mine really short. It's definitely Green Bay's division. There's no doubt. Every other team is a losing team but the Bears, but they feel like a losing team. So with that being said, again, you got Aaron Rodgers, who's got 14 chips on his shoulders and whatever, and they're playing. But I agree, they do have to get better on defense, especially against the run game. They're lucky they don't have to play Dalvin Cook anymore. I don't see DeAndre Swift doing anything big, or even David Montgomery for that matter. So, yeah, I'm going Green Bay, but I do agree with the fact that if they want to go far in the playoffs or even to the Super Bowl, they got to do a better job on defense. They do.
Yeah, and the Bears, the Bears don't have, to me, a true QB. I mean, you put all this on Trubisky, and then you bring in Nick Foles. It's like, who's the guy? So this is the last question. Quick question: Steelers defense, which me and Jason were talking about this before we went live, and I love the Steelers defense. Historically they're a great defense, and I think they've added more pieces every single year. They just continue to get better. They don't really get worse. So I love it. He said, real or mirage? I think the Steelers defense is real, and I think it's going to take them far.
Oh, man, they're so real. I mean, even losing Devin Bush, they're that real because, you still got Bud Dupree on the other side, TJ Watt, what Minkah Fitzpatrick brings to the secondary. Have you not been watching football? The Steelers are legit. Yes, they've let up 24 points to the Titans and a couple of games here, but you know what? They're 7-0. And it's mostly because of Mike Tomlin, the defense, and the fact that Big Ben is back and he's got that time to throw. So, Steelers defense is totally legit. And another reason why they're going to get turnovers because teams are going to be down, and that's what's going to happen. Other teams are going to throw picks. There could be a fumble here. Somebody tries to make a big play, and that's how Pittsburgh keeps picking up points, man.
Yeah, this is good. Like I said, the Steelers are going to have a Thanksgiving feast today.
They are.
Yeah, this is a great time for them. This is a guaranteed win. Book it. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this Sunday morning.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Fantasy football edition. Loved it. And shout out to Tomlin as well. The most wins by any minority coach. And I love Tomlin. And anybody that doesn't, you need to check your pulse because
they need to kick rocks.
You got that right. Every coach in the league except my own. No doubt.
Yep. But thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jordan, for coming on this morning with your coffee mugs and all.
No doubt. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. I love doing this stuff, and it's great. Right up until game time, man. Here we go. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm going to thank you again, my friend. Anytime you're around, you need me, I'm there for you, brother.
Yeah, right. Anytime that you need me to tell a story, I'm right here with my storybook.
All right. You guys have a good one. Have a great NFL Sunday. I'll be back tomorrow, the weekend wrap-up show. Also got a major announcement. I'll be back at 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, same time, same bat channel, and all that good stuff.
Same bat place.
Yep, exactly. Have a great one. Peace.
I'll be watching.